Doctor Strange is directed by Scott Derrickson, written by John Spates, Scott Derrickson, and C. Robert Cargill, starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Rachel McAdams, Benedict Wong, Michael Stuhlbarg, Benjamin Bratt, Scott Adkins, Mads Mikkelsen, and Tilda Swinton. Dr. Stephen Strange's life changes after a car accident robs him of the use of his hands. When traditional medicine fails him, he looks for healing and hope in a mysterious enclave. He quickly learns that the enclave is at the front line of a battle against unseen dark forces bent on destroying reality. Before long, Strange is forced to choose between his life of fortune and status or leave it all behind to defend the world as the most powerful sorcerer in existence. Doctor Strange is the 14th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, I am aware it took me about 2 weeks for me to get around to reviewing this film, and now I am finally talking about it. In most of my past reviews of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whenever I talk about how the film looks, I typically say it looks like your typical Marvel film. And I mean it, because most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films have a particular standard and they usually just stick by it. There are a few films where the visuals are actually more impressive than your typical Marvel film. I cannot say that for Doctor Strange because the visuals are amazing. Also, the costume design is very spot-on as well. I am not surprised that there are people out there comparing Doctor Strange to Inception, and it really does show if you are familiar with Inception and have seen this film. There is one thing about the visuals that is not as impressive as everything else, and without spoiling it, let's just say the CG towards an omnipotent being is not as impressive as everything else that comes with the effects of Doctor Strange. Personally, the CG towards this omnipotent being didn't really bother me, so I'm not going to detract Doctor Strange for that. The film score is composed by Michael Giacchino, and the film score of Doctor Strange is serviceable at best, but it does fit in the Marvel Cinematic Universe film score standard. This film does get bonus points for using a Pink Floyd song, Interstellar Overdrive, from their debut album The Piper at the Gates of Dawn, which was released in 1967. The acting is excellent in Doctor Strange, and even though Benedict Cumberbatch is one of my favorite actors, I do think he is one of the greatest modern actors that we have in film and television today. I may be a big Cumber cookie, aka a fan of Benedict Cumberbatch, but I gotta tell it like it is. When I saw the posters for Doctor Strange and saw Benedict Cumberbatch in the outfit, I was convinced the casting choice was perfect. After seeing the film, I can proudly say that Benedict Cumberbatch was spot on as the character and is by far my favorite portrayal of Doctor Strange. He was perfect for the role. Chiwetel Ejiofor is another good actor, and I enjoyed him in this film as well. I don't have much to say about Rachel McAdams, but she's good. There is one actor besides Benedict Cumberbatch that I was actually glad to see in this film as well, and that would be Mads Mikkelsen. I've heard much great about him from the critically acclaimed James Bond film, Casino Royale. As for Doctor Strange, he looks very cool. Tilda Swinton was excellent in Doctor Strange, and I am aware why the Ancient One was portrayed with a different ethnicity for the film. This was because Marvel Studios was a little worried about how Chinese audiences would react had the Ancient One been a Tibetan character like the comics. I can understand from a business perspective as to why Marvel Studios went with this direction, but I do think the Ancient One should have been portrayed as a Tibetan character, considering two of her comrades were also portrayed as Asians. Save for Mordo, the characters for the most part were great, and it was nice to see how the character arc of Dr. Stephen Strange plays out. Mordo is an interesting character once you actually get through his character arc in the film. Characters such as Christine Palmer and Juan are good for comic relief, and the Ancient One's character arc is interesting as it plays out. As much as I enjoyed Mads Mikkelsen in this film, I have to be honest, Caecilius was underplayed in Doctor Strange, making him another weak villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and also resulting in Loki still being the best villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Seriously, what is it with the Marvel Cinematic Universe and their villains? Most of them are weak. There's only a very few that actually stand out. When it comes to the plot of Doctor Strange, this film does feel like it is in familiar territory when it comes to the origin story of Doctor Strange. But it does add something new that the Marvel Cinematic Universe did not have in the past. So this film does add in some flavor for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What Doctor Strange adds to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that past installments of the MCU did not add is
magic.
Mr. Bean was part of my childhood, and I had to do that. Even though the villain is my biggest gripe with Doctor Strange, the one thing I am mixed about with this film is some of the comedy relief. Half of it works, but there are times when the comedy relief is used during more intense moments, and I feel like those moments do get compromised in terms of how these comedy reliefs are directed, and that's actually one thing I'm getting a little tired of with some of the Marvel Cinematic Universe films when they feel like they need to do comedy relief as soon as something big or tense happens. This shit needs to stop. I say this because the previous film of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Captain America Civil War, used comedic relief only when necessary, and the film took itself seriously. And this is the third phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As the Marvel Cinematic Universe expanded and introduced more characters, as Avengers Infinity War is approaching from film to film, it would be nice if the comedic relief can be dropped down, only using it when necessary. Even with my nitpicks of Doctor Strange, this is a very entertaining film, and I do recommend you see this in the theaters when you can. Overall, Doctor Strange is a very fascinating film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it does introduce something that past films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have not introduced yet. And it does feel very fresh when compared to what came before it. I am gonna give Doctor Strange an 8.5. Now that I have given every film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe a rating, here's some additional ratings in case you're wondering what I think of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets an 8. Phase 2 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe gets a 7.5. And Phase 3 is currently at a 9. The Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise currently gets an 8. If you like this review, feel free to hit the like button. And if you want to follow my channel, please feel free to hit the subscribe button. And as always, you're welcome to leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. And thank you for watching my review of Doctor Strange. My Marvel Cinematic Universe marathon has officially come to an end now that I have caught up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Doctor Strange. If you have been following my channel by the time I started this marathon back in May, thank you for sticking around and hearing what I had to say about these films. And of course, thank you for watching my reviews of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It definitely was a fun experience, even though this took me 6 months to finish. But I'm not done talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe just yet. There are more films to come, and I definitely will review more Marvel Cinematic Universe films as they come around. And I do look forward to May 2017 when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 comes out. I also want to thank you for being patient with me as I was going through the process of reviewing the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I was busy reviewing other films, I was reviewing some television shows for certain occasions, and I started reviewing music around the same time that I started reviewing the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I have my reasons why this took me a while to get done in catching up with everyone else when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now that I have no more films to review of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I figured I'd celebrate by revealing a big lineup of what I have next for you. I figured that since I am waiting for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 to arrive in theaters, I figured I would talk about the television series that are connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But before I get into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I would like to finish up my reviews of the television series that I have been talking about for some time now, such as Game of Thrones, Star Trek, and Goosebumps. However, before I get into the leftovers of the television shows that I have been talking about, there is actually one show that I really would like to talk about very soon. There are also some films that I would love to review very soon in response to the Chicago Cubs winning the World Series on November 2nd, 2016. Now, before I tackle these special reviews, I will finish up my live-action Resident Evil film reviews first. As for the special reviews, here's what I have in store. First off in the film lineup of what I have in store next is a trilogy in honor of the second installment, predicting that the Chicago Cubs will win the World Series on October 21st, 2015. But this film was off by 1 year. You probably already know it, it's Back to the Future.
This baby hits 88 miles per hour. You're gonna see some serious shit.
I was requested to talk about the musical film, Chicago.
He had it coming. He had it coming. He only had himself to blame. If you'd have been there, if you'd have heard it, I bet you would have done the same.
In honor of my dad's love for Chicago as well as this comedy film, I will be reviewing The Blues Brothers.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
I might as well review a film that has to do with baseball, and I can't think of any other film than Field of Dreams.
Baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, is a part of our past, Ray.
And since two of the most famous film critics hailed from Chicago, I will be reviewing Gene Siskel's favorite film, Saturday Night Fever.
Hello?
And Roger Ebert's favorite film, which is hailed as one of the greatest films ever made, Citizen Kane. And since I'm also reviewing music, I figured I would add Chicago's entire discography in my upcoming album reviews alongside Red Hot Chili Peppers and Radiohead. If any of these upcoming reviews spark your interest, look forward to the upcoming reviews that I just revealed to you. And until then, I will see you in the next review.